Welcome to BeautySlesh channel. Long time no see. Although we have a bit of sad situation with the virus right now, but don't be discouraged. I think it's a good time for us to practice and improve our skills, just to recharge, rethink about our future, connect with the family. So hopefully soon we will overcome this, and I have a good news. Every Monday you will receive a new video from me for the shading, hair strokes with machine, the microblading. You can rush to send me a message for your video requests. You can rush to send me a message about the questions or the issues you have. You can even hashtag me ask BeautySlesh for the questions, and hopefully maybe I could use your work to show off and to talk about some solutions, issues and stuff like that. So in this video I wanted to answer questions that I received already, so we can kind of learn and sum up everything, and then for the next every Monday we will have a new different content that we can learn and we can practice together. Okay, so the first question would be, how do you position yourself when you microblade the client's left eyebrow? Personally, I sit always behind my client, and if I'm doing the left eyebrow, I still do this from behind. I know a lot of artists do this. They switch to the front and they microblade from the front. I just personally, for me, I can't control the microblading tool when I'm sitting in front, and I feel a bit uncomfortable when I lean my hand on the client's face or the chest, but that's totally up to you. Whatever makes you feel better, control the microblading tool. Which one do you prefer, manual shading or machine shading? Definitely machine shading, just because it's cleaner, you can have a better control, you can shade faster. However, with machine shading I can create very light transition from the light to dark. I can have a crisp outline, or I can have a pixelated look, brows. So many variations you can create with machine. For the manual shading, you can also do that, but it will take just more effort and more experience. However, with the manual shading, you can create the better density. So sometimes I even combine manual shading with the shading with machine, which is something I will introduce to you guys later. Basically, I shade first with machine, and then I add some additional depth of field using manual shading. Also, if the client's skin is really sensitive, I would choose manual shading over machine. So learning both techniques is a big benefit for you. Could you share any good links to print out microblading pattern? So for my Monday's show, I will first of all I will show how to microblade, and then at the end of each video you will have the access to download the PDF, the picture of microblading pattern, so that should not be a problem. How do you figure out the right color for each client to use? First of all, I always look at the hair color. I try to match the hair color or the eyebrow hair color. And if you go to my descriptions, you will see the pigments I use from Tina Davis, and you can use my code BeautySlesh15 for the discount. Usually I choose the pigments with the yellow base, just because I feel after 1 year they look much nicer, the residue of the pigment looks much nicer. But I don't make it too complicated, judging by whether it's Asian skin type or white or darker, just trying to match the hair color. Next question is how to have soft outline in shading. Soft outline in shading you can achieve when your hand movement is wide and your speed is lower. So you have these scratches, but using wider movements, lower speed, but your hand movement doesn't necessarily have to be slow. It can be fast. This way you will achieve the dots that are placed on the skin further apart from each other. You will have a softer outline. If you if your speed of your hand is slower, then you will have more dots inserted into the skin, especially if you increase the speed of the needle of the machine, then you will have very dense pigmentation on the skin, and you will create more darker, crispier, dense outline. So that's the difference. The question is, what machine do you recommend for the beginners? I use Bella machine in my link in the description under this video. It's very nice machine just because it can create really nice transition from light to dark, the pixel look, and it's very soft. It doesn't damage the skin. I know a lot of machines, they have this difficulty deposit the pigment, so you are shading but there's no ink coming out, or it's hard for the machine to pick up the pigment. So this machine doesn't have any problem with that, and it's super easy to operate. So I definitely recommend for beginners and for advanced artists as well. How do you determine different skin types and how the process differ for microblading or shading? If I know for the Asian skin types, they have a thicker skin for the Caucasians, or with very, you can see the sensitive skin, the thickness will be thinner. Usually I tend to figure out the thickness just by my first hair stroke. I can have the feeling of the depth, and always starting with the lighter pressure, but then if I feel the thickness is thicker, I can make just a little bit more pressure, but always starting with a lighter, and I seen the result. You can, if you don't have the experience and if you cannot tell the thickness of the skin, start with lighter, see the healed result, and maybe go slightly deeper on your touch-up procedure. And also at the tails, because the skin is always thinner at the tails, I tend to make my pressure much lighter versus the front of the brow. How do you choose the right blade to use on a client? There is no right or correct blade. Whatever makes you feel comfortable using. So I bought a lot of blades and I tried different 18U, 12U, 9U, flat, different, and I figure out the one that is comfortable for me is 18 and 12U. Other artists, I know they like to use the flat because they can have a better starting point, they can have a better, cleaner bottom line, but I already got used to U blade because I can make a better curve strokes, and I can handle the bottom line, I feel. Well, so there's no difference at all, whatever makes you feel confident. But the only thing I would encourage you to pay attention, whether you are using a nano needles or you're using a regular needles. That's the only big difference, because you know microblading is a very tricky technique where you can leave scars on the skin, so you should definitely go with a nano needles. And be really aware of the quality of nano needles, because that's something that affects whether you will have the crisp hair strokes or blurry. And I've been working with the factories for this past month, and I'm hoping I will launch my nano needles soon. It just takes time because I want to bring the best quality to you guys. Next question, how do you make the shading pattern without patches? If you have the patches, it means your pressure somewhere is too much, either at the beginning of your move, of your swing move, or at the end. So you put too much pressure, that's why you have stronger the beginning, and then when you shade, you have this patchy look. It's hard for me to explain just by talking, so I did create a video on this, which is coming on Monday, so you can go ahead and see how you can create a clean pattern and how you can practice to have clean pattern without the patches. Guys, if you think this type of videos are useful for you too, let me know in a comment, or should I just have more technical videos. I do feel the combination of both would be nice. Sometimes it's nice to answer your questions. Just let me know what you think. As always, I have 2 Instagram accounts for you to follow and connect: BeautySlesh and Learn BeautySlesh. Anything you have questions, you can forward to me on Instagram or leave under YouTube video. And yeah, I guess I'll see you next Monday.